Live at the door. All right. All right, you're good. You go inside. Good morning, everyone. Again, it's a lie. I always record these probably in the afternoon, but you're hearing in the morning. So this is the lie we have to tell ourselves. I have to let you guys know I have someone pretty cool. Homie was in a lot of bands and is working with a lot of bands right now, and it's AEG's number one target. We have Conor Kincade. What's up, everybody?
What up?
Dude, it's what a year.
Yeah, what a year.
What a year. It's been really, really crazy. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, all things considered.
Because you just also came back from back-to-back tours, kind of what? So give us kind of it's fucking May 21st, almost half of the year. Let's walk through your whole year.
So I ended last year with a tour into another tour into another tour into the Ho Ho Hot Mulligan shows.
Yes.
Which was a ton of fun. I got to play drums for Riley for one of the songs for Bad Boys Boxing Club, so Izzy could front it in front of 1,000 people, which was the most I've ever played music in front of, which was very cool.
Hell yeah.
Came into the new year. My girlfriend told me she was pregnant, so she's due in 3 weeks, it looks like.
Oh my God.
Because she's due on Coachella, which of course she is.
It's a beautiful name for a baby girl.
It's straight up. You can't sue a child's name, right?
Yeah, you can't. Well, yeah, no.
Well,
you can't. They'll find a way.
So spent the first part of the year just kind of getting baby stuff situated, and March rolled around, left for or was it April? March or April? I don't remember when it started. The Free Throw, Those Days Are Gone 10-year tour. I went out with Harrison Gordon.
That's right.
Came back for 2 days, 3 days, and then left on the Riley tour. I was up with them for about a week. But on the last 2 days of the Free Throw tour, I got the cease and desist from AEG.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, I don't know. I've been home for a week now, a little over a week now. So I've been enjoying the home time.
Is it so you have a lot of right? What would you consider your job to be?
God, I don't know.
You have so many fingers and so many pies. What are the hats that you wear?
I work at an employee benefits brokerage for my home job. So that's at that point, my job has just evolved into grunt work. I just do the work no one else wants to do, recording benefit presentations and writing checks for the business and stuff like that. Just
cool.
Accounts payable and stuff. So I guess grunt at an employee benefits brokerage. I'm technically the CEO of the Summit Shack. Since we are an LLC now, just the main booking person for Coachella, since we don't do local shows anymore, which we may get back to, who knows. So low-level employee in a benefits brokerage, CEO of the Summit Shack. I used to be more of an agent. I'm less booking now, but I was an agent for a ton of bands for about 2 years.
Wild. What does it mean being an agent?
Just handling all the. I mean, I guess it's different for what each band needs.
Sure.
But handling the booking process for bands, whether it be tours or local or otherwise.
Oh, I mean, that's sick. So you were everything that you have to do, it's when you get to that next level where you're okay, cool, we can afford someone to do this as a job. And then you do that for certain bands. You've been working with Riley for like forever.
Yeah, I was Riley's booking agent for about 2 years until they got picked up by Sound Talent Group. They're with Jason and Morgan over at STG now. I was working with Cheem for a long time, and now they're with Pat the Cat at Save the Cat Touring. Shout out Pat.
Pat's the best.
I did a little bit of stuff for Kerosene Heights, never like officially, but like they were just on a lot of the tours that I was booking, so I was inadvertently booking stuff for Kerosene Heights.
Oh, that's funny.
Helped out.
Because that makes so much sense, because like if anyone's running together, you end up booking for them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Wild. Okay, so you have a lot of stuff going on. It's like,
yeah.
Is this kind of the state of like, is this state of chaos kind of something that you thrive in?
I mean, I would say so. I'm very much, for better or for worse, I'm someone who thrives under a bit of pressure. It's probably the ADHD.
Sure.
School papers, I would do them the night before or the morning of, which is just terrible to say, but I would get like decent grades on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, 'cause that's that pressure where you're like, cool. I mean, I'm going to get my best work done, with someone kind of standing over me.
Exactly. That's why, like, if I get like a deadline, or I guess a lack of a deadline at work, they're just like, hey, can you get this done? And they don't really tell me when. I'm just like, if you don't tell me when this needs done, I'm not going to do it.
I completely agree. I think that there's like, I'm in the middle of like looking for, I was laid off in April, so I've had a lot of time. I think that's why I moved to like 2 episodes a week, and just like, fuck it, let's see what we can do. I've given myself a bunch of weird deadlines, and I'm like, oh, I'm excelling really nicely in this thing. In all of these jobs, they're all asking like, are you a self-starter? Are you this? Can you multitask? So I'm like, I look at these and I'm like, I can do all this stuff, but I just need people to tell me when things have to be done by, because that is like, I can't do that. I can't do a job. I can do a lot of stuff. I can wear 80 hats, but like, if I don't know when everything's due, they just will not get done.
Yeah, I simply can't care. Like,
yeah, it's like if maybe
nobody needs this thing. Like,
yeah, if it doesn't have a due date, then I don't give a fuck.
And apparently nobody else does either.
And no one else does it. You're not
going to get it done.
Exactly. I think that's just 1,000,000%. And maybe that is another reason why you're so good at this, is because there's so many due dates when it comes to touring, and like you're planning a year in advance, and it's got to be this specific date, and then you're driving, you have to leave at this specific time. There's just lots of stuff that kind of works with that.
I think that's why I like tour managing so much. I definitely think, I drummed in a band. I tour managed for my own band. I did DIY tour managing for other bands, pre-COVID. I managed bands. I booked for bands. But I think that the one thing that I've enjoyed the most is tour managing, because of the structure that's inherently there. Like, you have a van call, you have a loadout time, you have a load-in time, you have a set time. There's things that need done, and there's people who rely on you to make sure those things get done.
Hell yeah. It's like you've already been dad for so long, now you're going to be a real dad.
Yeah, straight up. I was like, my nickname amongst friends before music stuff, during music stuff, like, has been Dad.
Yeah, makes sense.
So all the people who have ever called me that over the years are feeling very vindicated now that I'm actually having a child.
That's okay. So now, like, you've been kind of going hard into this whole thing for years, ever since like American Spirits, like, and even doing the original Stomach Shack stuff, and I was looking at all of like the flyers that you posted for the old I wish, it'd be funny to do the sound design for me saying Coachella and then like bleeping it out.
Matt just showed me the Coachella 7 Serg on the Street that he just finished editing, and he bleeped every instance of someone.
Yes, dude. Okay, cool.
Coachella.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna have to sit down and do that just because I think it's part of the bit now. Like I think it's just we all have to start committing to the whole thing.
It's half a bit, half like the dude's petty enough to strike your podcast, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I might be like, yeah, no, this is a bit, but like I want to make sure this stays up. It's just so it's kind of crazy. Let's kind of walk me through like what happened in your head when you finally got like the emails about it.
So I was sitting outside with some good friends from North Carolina. Just like smoking a cig, smoking a joint, hanging out. Got an email and saw the header and everything and was just like, oh, what's this? And I opened it, read the first few sentences of it, and I was just like, in my head, I was like, surely this is a joke. And then I kept reading and I was like, am I getting sued? Like, wait, what is this? Like, wait, what is actually happening? And I literally said that out loud to the people I was talking to. I was like, hold on, I'll be right back. I gotta go like figure this out real fast.
Holy shit! Have you ever been served or anything like this? Like,
no, I've never been issued a cease and desist before, so I wasn't quite sure what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I would look at it and go, like, do I need to talk to a lawyer? Like, I might like call my dad. like, there's like something like I wouldn't even know what to do in that situation.
Yeah, it was. I definitely like. Immediately went like defense mode, worst case scenario. Like I called Matt, who's our main editor and YouTube connoisseur for all the content that we do. And that was like, I didn't really care about the socials. I didn't really care about like the posters and necessarily like what I was truly worried about is like, we have like thousands of videos
totally
on the Shaq YouTube. And if they strike enough of them, the Coachella ones, like they could take down the whole YouTube channel. And some of those are like not on hard drives anymore.
Totally.
And so we would have like an insurmountable amount of like lost media if they were to take down the YouTube channel. So Matt, the fucking godsend that he is, are we allowed to swear?
Oh, please. I need you to fucking swear.
I wasn't sure. I was like,
oh, please. Oh, yeah. I said explicit content when it comes to fucking Spotify.
Matt, the angel savior boy that he is, took down every single video that had Coachella either in a title card or in text or like in the title.
Yeah, totally.
And luckily the YouTube has made it out unscathed. You know, like my personal Facebook, the Shaq Facebook, my personal Instagram, the Shaq Instagram, the entirety of the Shaq Twitter is gone. Like nothing. This dude was he was horny for it, dude. He was like really fiending because like my lawyer was like, all right, we're going to use a bunch of creative words and tell this guy to pound sand. And I was like, all right, awesome. And the instant we did that, 2 hours later, Shaq Twitter banned, Shaq Instagram, hundreds of posts removed, Shaq Facebook, hundreds of posts removed. Like the instant we told this guy we weren't going to listen, he just like immediately issued all the strikes. Like he had to have had him ready. Like it happened so quickly.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, his finger was already on the trigger, just like, you know, rubbing it. Just like this is a guy that's totally getting off on it. Like, it's a huge bummer. And to like Coachella and just you and this whole thing that you've been building has been what a staple and foundational thing in like DIY community. Everyone in the United States knows that participates in this stuff, knows about what's happening. And is there kind of like was there kind of this thing where you're like, oh my God, this thing that I've built, like did you feel pretty reflective over the last decade of doing this as this stuff was happening?
I mean, definitely, just like especially because of like my worry for the YouTube. Like we've documented so much of it that like, I don't know, like part of me, I'm really split 50-50 on it. Like part of me is like, all right, you know, we made jokes about them doing this before, you know what I mean? Never thought it would actually happen. And then in actuality, when it started happening, I was just like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like this actually like kind of blows. Like it's not as funny as I thought it would be.
Yeah,
because
it's so
like
serious
full defense
now.
mode. Yeah, it's like, oh fuck, dude. Like, and luckily, like I had a friend reach out from college whose partner is a copyright intellectual property lawyer. It's what they focus on. And they've been very helpful with letting me know what I can get away with and what I can't. And what I can do to waste this guy's fucking time.
Yeah, it's like there's kind of like the petty side of my brain is like, okay, cool. I need to I need to be able to be a little bit petty. Like, I want to do a couple of things, but I also have to be safe. So it's like, what are the things I could do under the radar that I could hit his nuts with? Like, there's
exactly.
There's got to be some like weird little petty things, and I bet you've already like gone through all that stuff.
I started posting the Coachella flyer like after other images on Instagram. So I was like, look at these Pokemon cards that we drew while I was on tour. And then 4 pictures later, it was the Coachella poster. And he eventually did take those ones down too, which means he is actively scrolling, which is awesome.
Let's waste his time.
I'm glad you're such a fan, dude.
So homie, okay, that is great. I would love to waste this guy's time. Like that is
granted, he's probably getting paid an exorbitant 6-figure, maybe even 7-figure salary to be doing this. So
totally.
Is it time wasted if you're getting paid that well? And does this guy is he as horny for me as it seems? Probably not, but it's a fun headcanon,
Yeah, totally. I mean, it feels that's enough to go to sleep to. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling good about that. It's first of all, I think that you deserve I'm going to say 10 years. Like, you've been doing this thing for such a long time, right?
Yeah.
You deserve a huge round of applause for your like massive contribution to this whole thing that we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. I really do appreciate that. But I do also want to give the rest of the Shaq team isn't online.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Ellie is online. But even then, Ellie is a lot less online than they used to be.
Sure.
But like Matt, Trey, Chance, and so many other people who help make the Shaq happen, Jake and Mike and Joey, and like they're not on the internet. You know what I mean? So I feel like they get, I don't know. I want to give them their roses any chance I could get, because like realistically, the fact that the fest itself runs as well as it does is just because of Jake and Mike doing sound. Like, if they weren't as good at doing sound for 12 hours straight, 2 days in a row, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the whole fest. Like, that's no one sees the bands,
Yeah, no, I totally like. Huge shout out to the whole team. Like the last decade and change, like y'all have really just, like I heard about it when I joined, like, a band, my band, and this went on Twitter, and suddenly I started hearing about this, and I was like, oh, there's just so much. The lore involved with Summit Shaq and you and everyone that's involved is just so it's so extra large. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about, like, all the times that Riley's played it, all the time that the equipment's played it, and that they've been doing this whole thing. I think it was the 10-year anniversary of Equipment's original demo that they put out, like, like just a couple
recently.
Days ago. And y'all have been involved kind of since their inception as well. Like, you've seen so many bands pass through the doors of Howard's, pass through your own house. Like, it's fucking insane to like, what is, like, you deserve your flowers. I want to make sure that you get your flowers, and you get every pat on the back. Like, just thank you for this crazy thing. Does there feel like there's kind of like a comma or a period at the end of the sentence because of this stuff that's happening, that you get to kind of maybe, start something new, or that you get to kind of like successfully reflect on the whole thing?
So I think that if it was going to happen, I guess the best time would have been right after Coachella 8.
Totally.
I think that would have been the best time, just because, like, there are, just like there were multiple iterations of like the Shaq, there's also multiple iterations of Coachella, because like the first two, I mean, even 1 to 2 was just drastically different. Like the first Coachella was just my friends. It was just all of our friends.
Totally.
It was our friends who did art, that were DJs, that were comedians, that were rappers, that were bands, solo performers. And we just like grilled out and hung out. Easy. It was really like hyper local, hyper like, you know what I mean? It was just like, it was the BG homies. And then the second one was all like Ohio bands. But it was like very much, I mean, Heart Attack Man played. Like I didn't have scope for who Heart Attack Man was back then. I was coming into this from being like a SoundCloud kid. You know what I mean? I was very into like producing beats and going to electronic shows and seeing DJs and DJ shows and cyphers and stuff like that. So like coming into the Midwest emo, alternative, indie, rock and roll scene, guitar music, you know what I mean? Like I was a prog kid, I was a Dream Theater fan. Like I liked, Rush. I listened to a ton of like guitar music, but definitely like the last like 6 years prior to getting into, the fifth wave DIY Midwest emo scene, I was definitely like not hip to what was happening.
Totally.
So I was kind of going in very blind. So I didn't really have scope for like who Heart Attack Band was, or how cool it was that they were playing a free house show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Because the first two were free. And then the third one, we moved it to Howard's, and that was like a huge deal for us. I feel like that's like the first like Coachella 0.0, 2.0, I guess, was Coachella 3, just because like it was really tough for us to move it to Howard's, because like we really did, like we had only done 2 and they'd both been at the house. So like, is it a DIY festival if it's at a venue? You know what I mean? And Howard's is just a fuck ass dive bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but we were so worried about it. But like the 2-stage format that we did for the second one, where we had, acoustic acts on the front porch and then bands in the garage, kind of lended itself very well with the Howard setup, because we had the side stage that we, for Coachella 3, did for mostly acoustic stuff, and then the main stage for the live bands and stuff like that. And then we had an after party at the house with comedians and DJs to kind of still have the original setup of what we were doing, but like switching to 3 was kind of a big deal for us. And then the fourth one was on Minecraft. I don't even know if we should even get into that one. That's its own whole debacle, you know what I mean? But like we started, once we started charging, because 3 was free as well.
Wild.
Like the Stars Hollow, Shortly, Charmer, Origami Angel, like Snarls played that one. Like I'm not sure if you're hip to Snarls, but like they're an incredible band from Columbus. It's enormous now. Just like, I don't know, none of those bands had any business being there. You know what I mean? It was just like very much like I had no clue what was going on, and was just like, I like these bands.
Yeah.
I found these bands this year. I guess we'll do it. You know what I mean? And it definitely has evolved into something that I think that we've, in one way or another helped cultivate.
Yeah.
Which I think feels cool. I think that, I don't know. I'm excited. Like I was talking to Matt last night, and he's like, yeah, like the YouTube stuff, like he was like, it's cool that we're doing the YouTube stuff, but like people don't really watch it. And in my head, I was like, I don't think we're doing it for people now. I think we're doing it for people in like 10 years. I think it's going to be something that like people look back on, the modern baseball shit. You know what I mean? And the 2014 era. Now they're like, oh, I wish I was there. I feel like there's going to be people like, oh, I wish I was there for this stuff.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people where there's kind of this thing where like, oh man, how are we all going to look back on this? What are the books and documentaries going to be about in 10 to 15 years about what's happening right now? Like, it's kind of crazy to think that, like, I mean, last year alone was like one of the best years of like released music. I think that people will write,
Yeah. And in 2024 was absurd in terms of the quality. Like, I feel like bands just like got good over COVID.
Yeah, and
like I feel like they couldn't do anything but practice.
And like it was like the stars aligned for everyone's release happened to be in like it was the perfect storm. It was just it was just every week was just something kind of crazy that was released. And it's funny because this year feels like a little bit less, or I mean, I'm going to be honest, it feels like a lot less, mainly just because last year was just so fucking crazy. But
there's
like,
a lot of shit coming out this summer, dude. There's a lot of stuff coming out this summer.
I think it's just like this spring has been just a little lackluster, and like I think that this summer is like, you know, with the is it going to be a Kerosene Heights summer? I think it is. Like it's going to be like a really, really crazy, like I think it's just gonna be this spike of like all these records this year, and then we'll be coasting on that until next year. But like again, the stuff that's happening in, I don't like the word this scene. I think it's always sounded strange to me, but whatever is happening here, what's going to happen, like what people are going to, you know, talk about in 10 to 15 years. I think people are going to remember this time because like, I think I've tried to do the math. I think it's like 6,000 to 8,000 people across the United States and like Canada and England, people that talk about this stuff, that interact with all of these bands. Like it's a small percentage, it's a small group of people, but everyone fucking loves this shit, and it's everyone comes together on Twitter and comes together on Instagram and stuff, and goes to all these shows, and it's like this whole economy runs on of like DIY runs on the back of like this 6,000 to 8,000 people, and it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's definitely, I feel like the loud supporters of the DIY stuff, like they really do help bring a lot of people. Like I feel like especially this past year or two, I've heard so many like firsthand, like this is my first show ever.
Yeah, I bet you hear that all the time now. I bet you have the chance to hear that all the time because you are on the road at these shows all the time.
And it just like, it blows my mind because it's like, you know, you don't want to like judge people by the way they look, but you look at someone and go, how is this your first show?
Yeah.
You look like someone who goes to shows. Like you, like, not that someone, there's like a specific look for people who go to shows. It's just like you meet people and there's a demeanor they have. And it's like, how is this your first time seeing live music? That's crazy to me. But like, I like the TikTok Midwest emo boom, like, you know, for better or for worse, like promoting on TikTok, like it works for some, it doesn't work for others. You know, like you look at a band like Harrison Gordon, that's a band who took TikTok stuff and turned that into like touring numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
the alchemy that Harrison used to do that, like, I mean, going from TikTok to doing the free throw tour, like that pipeline, like, is so crazy. What a cool thing to have watched happen.
Yeah, but then you have like, you hear the stories of like other artists who are like have like one big hit on TikTok and they do like touring and like it's just a bunch of kids who stand there motionless until the one part of the one song that they know comes on and then they go crazy and then they leave. It's like the ability to turn whatever the online TikTok, you know, stuff into like a live performance. I feel like there's some have been able to do it and others can't. So like it's interesting that people are like, you have to do TikTok to succeed as a band when there's hundreds of bands out there right now that don't. And there's some bands that do blow up on TikTok, but that can't turn it into. So it's like, I don't know, like as much as everyone says like, you have to do this, you have to do this, like the proof's in the pudding that you can kind of do whatever. Like Riley never really did the TikTok thing and they've just toured relentlessly for years. Equipment's never really done the TikTok thing and they've just kind of toured relentlessly for years and managed to get there, quote unquote, the old fashioned way.
Yeah. It's also, I think about like, I think if you look at the success of Harrison Gordon, it's that it's more than just Kirby Down B. Like homie is a personality, and I think that it was. And
people were fucking with a lot of the Harrison songs. I was very interested. Like in full transparency, I was like, are the kids only going to know Kirby Down B? You know what I mean? They knew most of the set. Like the kids, the Harrison Gordon's got some ride or dies.
And that's so cool. And like, that's what needs to be studied. Like, you know, if the record labels, I think the way that what I read, there was like someone saying that there was a bunch of record labels were all eyes on TikTok for any of the viral clips, all that stuff, trying to turn that into money.
I mean, that's if you want to go to a suit label, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Like all the suit labels. Those are the labels that I'm talking about. All the suit labels were looking at TikTok for those things, right? For those moments. And the last one that they pulled out of TikTok to like do that, I think was Olivia Rodrigo. Like that is from what I remember, that's you know, they're like, oh shit, she's gonna be a huge star. They pulled her out of TikTok, and then they've tried to do like so many others that just have failed after this one thing, where then you look at like it's just, if you look at like Harrison's content, it's like all it's all hashtag fucking relatable. Like, it's not just like the song over and over again. Yes, like there's moments, but like people fuck with yuppies like that. That's what ended up happening. Like the pipeline to that record happened, and then that record happens to be like insane.
And I guess you could use that to kind of piggyback into the whole like releasing singles versus albums thing.
Sure.
Like, you know, some people are just like releasing a bunch of singles, and I feel like those are great and you can get a ton of listens on like a single. But if they're not funneling the listener to something, I almost feel like, yes, the singles could get bigger and it's more regular releasing, so there's more likelihood of catching the algorithm, Spotify playlisting, stuff like that, which are definitely things that are good. But like, if you don't funnel those people into like a record, if you are just releasing a ton of singles, like it's hard to get the hardcore listeners, you know, the hardcore fans, the juggalos, you know what I mean? Like,
I think that is straight up like why okay, there's two kind of schools of thought. There's like the post LP1 break in between where like Ben Quad released just like two songs, just the cover that they have were like the Running Down the Dunes.
Holding Patterns, and would you tell Pagliacci to go see himself? Or
yes, like that. I look at that release as like this really really cool break where like, hey, I want to just release some stuff in between, but it's not like they don't even consider it a single. It's like this weird release where
it's just a P, you know?
Yeah, it's just
we're gonna release a P in the fall. Like, it's just 2 songs.
It's just, hey man, I hope you guys like this. Like it's this such a weird. I love this thing where it's like, I think people. First of all, you should do what you want.
Do what works for you. Every band is so different.
Every band is so different. You should have the balls to do stuff, right? I think like I've said this on the pod before. There's I don't remember who said this, but there's a guy that went to the Oscars and he also went to the Grammys. And he was telling stories about both. And he told a story about what the difference was, and that the Oscars, everyone listened to the directions of the people directing the Oscars. So people were like, okay, it's time to sit down. It's time to applause. It's time for this person to go. Everyone it's so staged. It's so ridiculous.
Oscars is movies, right?
Yes, it's the movies. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And the Grammys one, homie went to the Grammys.
And that's music. That's music, right? Okay. I'm so bad at the award ceremonies, dude.
I love this example because everyone, he said that it was this guy that was like, I went to the Grammys and they couldn't get anyone to listen to anything because the way the differentiator between like movie actors and musicians is actors take direction really well, and musicians, the people that make it into the big suit labels, the people that do all this stuff, they're the most disobedient people in the world.
God, that's so true.
It's so true.
I never thought about it like that. But yeah, it's funny that the Oscars are just like, yes, sir, thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am, yes, ma'am, thank you, ma'am. Like,
and it's just like a sit down, stand up, applause, like, smile, do the whole thing. And then musicians, they've like, the reason they got there is because fuck everyone else. And they climbed on the backs of people. They said it's musicians can that's disobedience and also like a blind selfishness things in certain ways.
Siri, play Coattails by Equipment.
And so, like, when I think about like do whatever you want, and when I I'm scrolling through TikTok and seeing people trying to do band marketing stuff on TikTok, and they're talking about you have to do these singles. I think that like people are always trying to crack the code of like how to get your band to the next step. And like my personal opinion of the whole thing is that I'm still an album guy. But you can but people just need a place to land. People don't want just one song. I think they want like an experience. So yeah, if you love a song, at least create like tension between a record release. I mean, the only example that I think of like where there almost was too many singles is "Draw Down the Moon" by Foxing. I'm pretty sure they released 5 songs before that record came out. Which is like
I could be totally wrong. Did they have like a visual thing for every song?
Yeah, dude, they had like a bunch. I mean, that was like their big like D&D record, like this huge fantasy.
Okay, yeah. So
yeah, dude.
I feel like in that sense, if you're gonna have like a visual novel, for lack of a better description, because I don't really know what to actually call it. I feel like you might be able to get away with doing 5, but it is a lot as like singles.
And they also had like they built like a game for it. So like they had like this huge community.
Yeah,
like
they had the rollout.
They had this crazy rollout, and then the record was insane. But like it was strange to get like half of it. Like I look in retrospect, going like, oh wow, what a crazy. They really just like did whatever they wanted. And I think that was their final record on whatever label they were on. Or to do like, and so like, they were able to do something really cool with their label. And then they released this ridiculous one, this last year that just like has taken over. I mean, they're touring with everyone now. That's what busted them through the ceiling. But, what this whole thing I wanted to kind of wrap around in is, are you an album guy or are you a singles guy?
Dude, I'm a likes on shuffle guy. it's any of the bands that I've toured with this past year fucking hate it because I think they're all album.
Fuck, Conor.
They're all album bands. I will say I have gotten more recently. I've become more of an album guy because I the first time, and then again, there's a lot of bias here, but at the same point, even if you are like working for a band, I feel like listening to a record as many times as I've listened to the Riley record, like before it came out, after it came out, like I really do just love that fucking record. It's so good.
It's so good. Like I can't hear the word winner without just like suddenly hearing that.
Yeah, and I love that 777. I think is wasn't a single or anything like that. And granted, it is the first track on the album, but I think it's the most popular song on the record, which I think is really cool.
Yeah,
I think it's just the best one. So it's like I'm glad everybody agrees.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's funny because like I think I don't know what it is about who decided this, but I feel like everyone's has a single that's always the second song of everyone's record. It's like
I would say that's over like at least half. I'd say that's at least half true for sure.
I don't get it. I don't know who said it, but like every record that I've like been a part of or like talked to, I'm like, well, the second one has to be like a big one, and like we'll have to release. I'm like, I don't know who said. Like I just and I look at other records and I always look at the second one, like, yep, there it is. There's this weird pattern again.
Yeah, I don't listen to enough records to really corroborate it or not.
That's so funny.
But I listened to the Carly record a lot. I've listened to the new I guess unreleased Summer Bruce record a good bit, and I've really been getting into P Daddy's self-titled.
I still need to dive back into
I listen to.
Like
dude, there's a lot of Cosmic Thrill Seekers fans. There's a lot of like the life's or I forgot to take my meds today fans. You know what I mean? Like that record, dude. I really think that self-titled's like some of the best shit they've done, bar none. It's real good.
I need to like go back to like 2015 and like look at like the releases from that, because like I think my emo phase, or in like almost has not band music, but like it definitely like emo pop punk phase ended in like 2008. You can kind of tell with listening to 95 Corolla, like
Yeah.
like it's 100% that I didn't start getting back into like the emo thing until like I wanted to do this band, and then jumping into like what was out when I created like my Twitter account for everything. Before then, I was like in a noise rock band, so I was into like, you know, Helms Alee and all this other weird guitar music stuff, like Kowloon Walled City and all this weird stuff, and even like electronic music and like movie scores and all this shit. So like I missed like all this stuff that happened in the 2010s, and so. Same. Like I feel like
when did you get back into it?
I would say I got back into this thing when Dream Is Over by Pup came out. Like
is that 2017?
Yes, I would say about 2017 is when that came out, where I was like starting to get back into bands, and I listened to that.
2016, yeah.
And like I decided to start doing this thing. I've almost done it for 10 years, where I release a top 10 records of the year, or like my favorite records. And it was just something for fun that I've done since 2016. And 2024 was actually so huge I had to start doing top 20s. But that's when I started like getting, and like I wasn't even looking into like DIY band stuff. I was just on my Discover Weekly, whatever would show up, because I was such a huge fan of Discover Weekly. I was like, if I'm only listening to my Discover Weekly, it's just going to get better and better and better and better. So everything was just kind of from then, from like, you know, listening to a bunch of fucking weird post rock, like Japanese post rock, math rock stuff that I used to fucking be obsessed with. Like it was, I just need to like
Abacot.
Yeah, Abacot, Light, Toe, like any Otoboki Beaver, even like all that shit. I was just like, I just wanted to be eclectic and weird, and I just wanted to listen.
It's good though. So like you could say you wanted to be eclectic and weird, but the shit's still good. Like it's real good. Like
yeah, dude. Like but when it comes to like emo, like or basically just
the
like
current alternative music scene.
Yeah, just like United States indie music. Like I missed like 8 years of it, and so I just need to kind of sit back and like, actually I should probably just ask like, okay, what are your favorite records between 2009 and 2018? Like
that's literally Ben Quad on I want to say it was the Wax tour about a year ago.
I think that's where we met.
Literally Yeah. That was at the end, I think.
Yeah, at the end. That's right.
Yeah. On that tour, I literally asked, like, because Henry and Sam are like big pop punk guys.
Sure.
And Edgar, obviously, based on his guitar playing, is a big noodly emo fan from that era. And so I basically just asked them to give me like a crash course of like, because there's a ton of bands from that era that I knew that I never listened to. I'd never listened to Modern Baseball. I had listened to the Front Bombs and hated it, still hate it. Sorry, Front Bombs fans, I just can't do it.
Yeah, totally.
Like they showed me like the Wonder Years, like Algernon Caldwaller, Glockamora, Captain Jazz, which was fucking cool. I really fucked with Captain Jazz. And,
really hard not to.
There were some of the other Kinsella projects that were really fucking good. Which I kind of like. I'd listen to those and I'm like, oh, it's every band now.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I get why people say it's so formative. I understand why people say like, oh, it all stems from this, and it's like, fuck, dude, some of it, yeah, definitely.
And they're totally right. Like, it's not just some hyperbolic thing. That's like, yes.
No, it's just like I listened to Modern Baseball and I texted Mike from Summer Brews and I said, do you like Modern Baseball? And Mike's immediate reaction was like, have you never listened to the first Summer Brews record? And then responded 5 minutes later and said, or are you listening to Modern Baseball for the first time? And I said, that one. that one. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're a modern baseball ripoff band. And I was like, oh, I get it.
Oh my God, it tracks. It tracks.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think it was really cool because, like, I don't know, when the Shaq was starting out, I was like, you know, coming out of the SoundCloud era, and you know, my bandmates at the time were showing me modern emo guitar music. You know what I mean? So like they were playing like Microwave, Dikembe,
Totally.
Free Throw, and I really think like the Free Throw record, specifically the song Pallet Town, was the first thing they showed me where I was like, ooh, I liked that. What was that? That was good.
Hey, turn around. What was that?
Yeah, hold on. Let's rewind. And I think from there I found, you know, I think Max Seal was one of the other first bands because I think Cats or Harry was out at the time, and both of those were just legendary riffs. And so I from there, like from those bands, is where I really like found the modern DIY emo, fifth wave, what have you, alternative indie emo stuff, which, like, you know, Coachella is definitely quote unquote like Twitter emo fest. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But I mean, if you look at it this year, there's not a lot of emo on it.
No. I mean, like, it's just like, it's kind of all over
Home
the
is
place.
Where is debatably emo. I feel like Carly Costco is pretty emo. Like,
totally.
There's
but it's
so many
different.
different brands of it. Like
emo's so much
Astro,
bigger.
Keep for Cheap, Pretty Bitter, like Monster Truck, Fire Truck. You know, but of course you've got emo bands like Equipment's Power Pop, I guess, but like Red Sun, Tiny Voices, Bottom Bracket. You know what I mean? But like Boy Clothes, Brain Weasels, like Career Days, kind of not an indie band. There's some like pop punk stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like Fend is just a good band. I don't even know what to call Fend. You know what I mean?
I know,
like,
they're just a good band.
Like a lot of it, like you could say it's the Twitter emo fest, the noodly emo, but like there's not even that many noodly bands on it. You know what I mean? Like you've got Tiny Voices, Moose Creek Park, Red Sun, Kerosene Heights for like noodly bands, Dear Marianne. But like a lot of these other bands, you know, it's I don't know. I feel like it's a lot more varied than people really do think about, just in terms of like the bands that you're going to see.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to like, I think that emo and the twinkly emo thing, I think that twinkly emo and its decisiveness of like what made it stand out and what made fifth wave, I think that whatever this new wave we're getting is just everything is kind of just going away from like, it's just so much broader now. People are kind of, it's just, I think that, I think maybe it's just the state of the economy, the state of the culture. There's more bands than there have ever been, and everyone's doing whatever they want now, and
everyone's really good,
and everyone's so talented.
I always make jokes. I'm just like, dude, labels, just like, look at these fests. I'm doing your A&R job for you. These are all just like bands that have either provable, you could see them now and go, oh, I get it, or you see them and go, dude, give them a year or two, and I like, this band could be like insane. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they've all got it, and it's just a matter of if you like what it they have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you kind of whoever does, you know, the main booking for Coachella.
That is the one thing that I will take full credit for.
Okay.
I've like it literally the booking process for Coachella, for better or for worse. And I'm sorry for people who've ever submitted. I don't really do submissions.
Sure.
I don't really like. I've obviously gotten like pitches from bands before when they you know, catch wind of it starting being booked, but I really do just like. I'd say more in recent years. I definitely pull because I've got a lot more friends that I've had in music for a lot longer that I trust their ability to like look at stuff objectively, like. Because I've definitely gotten recommendations from friends where it's like, hey, I did not like this band. You should book them for Coachella. Like, not in the because they didn't like them, but like they just like weren't their cup of tea. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like the Front Bottoms, like they're fine, but and I'm sure that people who love them, but like I can't.
Yeah,
but I could, you know, let's say someone saw the Front Bottoms and was just like, oh, that's terrible, but they would do amazing in XYZ. You know what I mean? Kind of vibe. I've definitely like taken those kind of recommendations from people because it's like they saw them perform, they listened to the songs, and while the songs might not be stuff that they'll throw in their likes and listen to regularly, they can appreciate a talented band. a band with like a goal, a band with direction, a band that's, you know, that's got the juice. You know what I mean?
Totally. And actually, that's a
which
really
I think
good
is
fucking
really,
point.
I think is really necessary for like booking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like for the last, again, over the last decade, what has it been like in your head booking this thing over and over again? It started off with friends, and now it's kind of like, are you looking for people, you know, is it the juice now that people are like, okay, cool, this is like the end of the first glass ceiling? That's how I look at Coachella, is that, hey, you've made it to like the end of this thing, you've gotten to play it. It's, you have made like this, you're over this one huge hump, and that's what is like at the end of the line, is you're playing this thing, and now you get to go to the next thing.
I love the way you phrased that is really interesting, because I definitely have used the phrase graduated Coachella a lot before.
That's exactly what it is. God, that's I was dancing around it, and that's 100% what it is.
And it's like, it's funny when it's friends. It's funny when it's bands I work with. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, or bands that I manage. It's just like, if I was ever gonna do like at Howard's again, which, like, shout out Howard's, the staff previously were really great. The current staff is you know what I mean? New owners, whatever.
Totally.
That's part of the reason we're moving it. You know what I mean? It's just like,
sure.
For full transparency, the people who bought Howard's are the people who own every other bar in Bowling Green, and are doing some less than desirable things with the direction of the bar and the staff and stuff like that. So it's, you know, they're like closing Howard's on certain days to drive business to their other bars. And it's just like very, yeah, dude, it's, and that's like the bear, that's as far as I'll get into it. But just like, there's a reason people don't like these guys. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Why they have a reputation.
Bullshit.
Yeah, they own every bar in Bowling Green. Like, it's like literally a monopoly in a way.
Yeah, fuck that.
So, but they've got the money, and Howard's was struggling. You know what I mean? So, like,
totally.
You know, Coachella in a lot of cases was their like most profitable day of the year. You know, where they, you know, because they're open the whole day, and there's a ton of people there. But like, you know, they can't always be doing that. And, you know, when the students are gone, it's a little tougher to have good attendance and stuff. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, that makes sense. And like, you know, having, you know, this thing that, you know, you have this every year, this graduation ceremony at Howard's. That's totally what it is, by the way. It's a graduation ceremony. It's going to be exciting to know what next year looks like, with this possible rebrand, the concept of where it's going to be. It's going to be like, this is
definitely Coachella 3.0. Like,
yes, 100%.
1.0 was at the house, 2.0 is at Howard's, and 3.0 is definitely whatever it ends up at in the future.
When do you plan? Like, how long? Because you're the deadline guy. What is your schedule like when it comes to planning this festival? Like, let's imagine this is, none of the crazy shit has happened. We're going to go to Coachella 9. Howard's the same, like everything is just, going to be the same. What is the schedule like for booking, for planning, just like you've done for the last 6 or something years?
So I would say, I guess I'll do the more recent ones, so that, with 6, 7, and 8. Mm-hmm. Just because they're the ones I can mainly remember. But I would say all of them, they happen mostly on Twitter, mostly through the Shaq Twitter, rest in peace. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because I lost all the DMs on there too. So it's like all my like bad pitches to bands back in the day, I can't go back and see anymore. It's like, damn, dude, I really did lose a lot with that one. But like, it's usually on Twitter. And I would, we'll say we finished last year's fest, and it's been like 2 months or so. And I've been, working on other stuff or been on a tour or something like that. And I'm, with, I think I was with Summer Brews. I mean, I really can't just like tell this story. I was with Summer Brews, got randomly inspired, where I'm just like, okay, step one is find a date that works for Howard's and find a date that works for like the main Shaq crew.
Sure.
So like I find what weekends are open, usually in June, but again, we've done October before, we've done April, we've done March, we've done, Coachella's been in I think like 5 or 6 different months, you know what I mean? But
interesting.
In recent years has just been June and has continued to be in June. Because like 5 was in July or something.
Crazy.
6 was in the fall, and people seem to really like the fall one. Maybe the fall's the move. But like, but again, I guess this kind of like the fact that it's been kind of whenever, because it does kind of lend itself to this. It's like I get, I find a weekend that works, and maybe a band that I think is really cool that could potentially headline, or like a band that I just like really want on this year's fest. Like for 6, I think it was literally like I had Ben Quad on 5, and I really fucked with how that went and how people took Ben Quad, and like, you know what I mean? So I had them back on 6, and I booked 6 because Edgar, I was like, are you free this time? And Edgar was like, yeah, I think so. Like, we don't have anything planned then. It was like before, I think the Hot Mulligan tour.
Okay, cool.
And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I don't think they didn't have an agent at the time. And that usually is also part of it, because it's like harder to do it when a band has an agent, just because like, I've been on the agent side of it, you know what I mean? So I know why it's like this, but it is tougher to lock stuff down with certainty when a band has an agent. Just because they're just constantly looking for other opportunities that are better, which is good. It's what you should be doing as a job, if you're an agent for a band. But I usually find a band, usually an independent band that I really fuck with, that I think I can kind of base the rest of the lineup on the fest around. I figure out what works for them. I figure out if that date works for Howard's, and if it works for Howard's, I message the rest of the Shaq staff, and I say, this weekend or this weekend. We pick one from there, you know what I mean? If there's like 2 available, and then I start the booking process. And in recent years, the booking process usually takes, for, I would say 90% of the lineup, I get it done in a day or 2.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
So that's why the whole like submission thing is just like, doesn't really work super well for how I handle it. Yeah, because it's like I've had the last one. I've had a little bit of time to ruminate on the bands that I really liked from last year that didn't graduate. You know what I mean? Maybe they were freshmen, maybe they were sophomores, maybe they were juniors. If we're gonna like frame it in a graduation sense,
totally.
Like for example, for this past year, Mud Whale and Fend from Coachella 7 were just like 2 absolutely amazing sets that I managed to catch a good bit of, because I only ever get to see like 1 or 2 songs from each of the sets, because I'm usually just doing laps around the venue.
Totally.
Just to make sure everybody's good. But they were just like, they played early, and there was like a good number of people there, but like I feel like they could have played to more people if they played a little bit later in the day. Granted, everybody's going to be playing to at least 100 people. It's just kind of how it is.
Totally.
But like, some of the later night sets, you get 200 people in there kind of vibe. But like I have the band that I want to base it around. So in this example, it's like Ben Quad, and for the Coachella 8 example, I wanted to have Mud Whale back. I wanted to have Fend back, because I wanted to give them better slots.
Sure.
I wanted to have Bottom Bracket back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Band. Just bands that I think are so good, and just like need eyes, need ears, you know what I mean? And I feel like people will love them like I do. And then having this post of all the posters is really helpful. I always have equipment on it, and I always have summer brews on it. That's I guess another part of the equation. That's the other part of the equation. And as I messaged both of them, and Nick is like, "Are you sure? Should we play it again?" And Mike is like, "Are you sure? Should we play it again?" And I'm just like, "You don't have a choice."
Yeah, sorry.
Like,
sorry,
please
guys.
please don't fuck me on this. Please don't fuck me on this. Like, I need you guys here so I can be like, look, it's these guys. They're back. Like, do you guys want to play? Like, and I always go through the same process of it in a day or 2, sometimes on tour, sometimes at home. I go through my mental list of bands that I have been fucking with lately, or that I know other people have been fucking with lately, that I've gotten, I've got friends who hit me up once every 6 months, and they're just like, I have my one please look at this band, see them if you have a chance. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're sick recommendation. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's bands that I really fuck with from that. Like, Caden from Pool Kids is a good example of, like, every now and again, Caden's just like, you don't have to, but you could really fuck with this band. And I'm just like, it's always like such a heater. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, they are so tapped in.
Tades from Hot Mulligan, incredibly tapped in. Eric from Heart Attack Man, incredibly tapped in, albeit to a different scene that I'm not quite as tapped into, which is cool because when Eric recommends bands, it's definitely something I've never listened to before. But like, I really didn't take too many of their recommendations, to be honest. I don't know. I'm very biased. I very much, you know, since the third one, have done 100% of the booking for the fest. The first one was kind of a group effort. The second one was mostly Dylan, who was the guitarist of American Spirits. And then in between 2 and 3, he got kind of overwhelmed with life stuff and stopped doing booking for the band and stopped doing booking for Shaq. So I took it over, and then it just stayed with me for that, you know, portion of it up until now. But like, yeah, I just message a ton of bands that I really fuck with. That I, you know, and sometimes I miss some and there's drops and I can get them on later, but sometimes, you know, and sometimes there's bands that I never would have considered that just like right time, right place. Like, you know, on the, okay. So yeah, this is a good example. I was on the Summer Brews tour when I booked Coachella 7, I'm fairly certain. Cool. Or no, Coachella 8. No, it was Coachella 8. When I booked Coachella 8, I was on the Summer Brews tour, this past year with Super American and City Sprague. So I booked
That's right.
Coachella 8 in August or September. It was the East Coast leg, so it was the first leg, so it was August. So I booked it in August. 2 months after, I was right. 2 months after. 2 months after Coachella 7, I was on tour.
You've nailed your whole thing.
Yeah, holy shit! I'm like actually like I'm putting all the pieces together now. And I one of the locals who opened for that tour was Nicotines, and I had been made privy to Nicotines before. They came to Coachella 6, and I believe they volunteered and helped out with some stuff.
Cool.
And came through. And Emma made the art for Coachella 7. And Emma was their manager / tour manager / like, I don't know, like the Danny Doyle of Carpool. You know what I mean? Sure. Like the honorary 5th member.
Yeah.
That a lot of bands have. So like PK Joey to Riley, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So, and they opened the show and they played their first song, and I was just sitting at the merch table. I was like, damn, dude, that was good. That was good. Like, that was a good song, and they were tight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the dynamics were really good. You know, the sound person, you know, and it's up to a band to make their time with the sound person good or bad. And they obviously had a great time with the sound person because they sounded great, and all they did was line check.
That's awesome.
And then the second song played, and Mike was also there. And it was like halfway through the second song, and Mike turned around and looked at me, and I immediately looked at Mike, and we both did the like, this is really good face.
Eyes raised.
Oh shit. Like, this is great. Like, this is so good. And it's funny because on the Harrison Gordon tour, there were a number of times where Jagger would play Nicotines, and like, I know some of the songs, but not all the songs. You know what I mean? And I would be like, dude, this slaps. Who is this? And he goes, dude, it's Nicotines. And I was just like, oh fuck, dude. Like, I'm a fake fan. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but like, yeah. And I was currently booking Coachella. They opened the show. They crushed it. And so I, like, after the show, I was just like, hey, I don't know what you guys are doing 10 months from now, but like, if you want to play Coachella 8, the offer is there. I'll keep the slot available for now.
Hell yeah.
And then I, you know, throw it in my spreadsheet, and I have my schedule that I do, and I know how many slots I have, and I always overbook or under, you know, by a good bit because every band says yes. And then that's how it extended from being like Doors 3, Music 4 to being a fucking 12 to 12 endeavors, just because I overbooked. So now overbooking is just like how it is. It's just the normal way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's not like a hotel where you overbook expecting people to drop. This is you overbook and then you just fit everyone because everyone just says yes.
Yeah, it's just like, oh fuck, all right, well, we'll make this work. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I hit up a bunch of bands, and then I usually I say I usually book 90% of the fest. Like I book like the main chunk. You know what I mean? Like I would say that I had. Let me look through this. I would say about like 75% of the ending Coachella 8 lineup.
Cool.
Done in the first like 2 days, and I'm pretty sure you were in that first 2 days wave as well.
Hell yeah.
Where I was just like, I can't look because the Shaq account's gone.
I know.
So it's just, and I think your DMs to me are gone too. So it's like I can't even like try to do it through other people.
I remember that we DM'd. We were like, "Hey, hi. If you guys want to do some of this, we can totally do that." And it was just,
it was probably like a sentence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like
it's like a very like informal message.
Oh yeah,
like, do you want to do this?
I remember. So we had asked, and I remember what you said, which was just literally just let's do it.
Oh, sick! Yeah, you asked at the right time, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, definitely.
It was.
Because I had listened to your record a few months ago and was just like, "That's good. It's a good ass record." You know what I mean? And I just got like more hip to you guys over time, and like other people who have tastes that I trust for one way or the other. Were like, "Yeah, I'm fucking with 95 Pro." I was like, "Dude, I like that record a lot too." I really like the Townies record a lot too. I kind of regret not getting them on this one, but they asked a little too late, and I was just like. They're from California, and I always hate to ask California bands because it's like I'm not going to be able to pay you enough to make it worth it. You're going to eat a lot of shit getting out here, dude.
Yeah, and like they do. They are. I love. Well, I'm really good friends with Tom. That whole band, I love them.
Shout out Townies. I know even if you hear this and you're like, I'll still come. You'll probably still come. Townies is a next year band for sure. I want to definitely get them on the next one.
They're so cool. I love their whole thing. It's like this weird 90s like pop sound thing that it's for some reason I'm like they're the spin doctors of like the fifth wave emo.
That's a great like specifically is it Faux Pas, the one that starts
off dude, Faux Pas is so 90s, man.
Yeah, just like I don't know. It hits a very specific thing, and I had it in my, my likes on shuffle. You know what I mean? And every time it comes up, I'm just like, "Damn, this rips." Who is this? Every time, I'm just like, "Oh yeah, it's Townies, dude." I forgot. Like, fuck.
Yeah, they're so cool. But yeah, I totally and actually when I saw the list of everyone that was gonna play, and I didn't see Townies, I was like, "Oh, I bet they were busy." Like
no, I fucked up and was just like, they're from Cali, they probably wouldn't want to, and I think they messaged a few weeks later and was just like, we'd love to do it, and I was like, fuck dude, it's full now. Like
yeah,
and but that makes sense. By sometimes some bands slip through the cracks, you know what I mean?
Anyone on the West Coast, I always feel like that, like they're always kind of fucked right now because like is it Awa from fucking
yeah, I'm from San Diego. They dropped 3 times now, bastards.
Yeah, dude, like what the fuck, you guys? Like
I literally messaged Josh from the Shaq account when I made the new one, and was just like, "You wish I would follow you back, like you wish, like fuck you guys, like." Just like fucking with them. Like Josh it's a very good. I've literally texted with Josh during this podcast, so like I love the Army Amphibians gang. But I do hate them forever.
Yeah, it's like, if you're a band in fucking California, like, honestly, fuck off right now. Like, yeah. I feel
Shout out, thanks, bad. I hate it. Shout out, thanks, I hate it.
Sure.
They're the only California band to make it.
They're like, fuck it, dude. We'll make this. We'll make it work.
Well, they got to do Goblin Zone too, like right before. So it's like you're gonna come make it out to the Midwest. You get to do fucking Goblin Zone, which was like everything the Shaq was, but better.
Yeah, there's a lot of literally like stuff.
The Goblin Zone was just like the Shaq during its peak era, but like even better.
That's so crazy. I met the homie.
And I never got to go. I never got to fucking go, dude. I literally just like saw and heard about it. Like,
yeah, all that stuff burns out like so quick. Where it's just like I've talked to I was talking to Pat I did an episode with Pat, and one of my favorite things that we talked about is there's this when it comes to these spaces, there's like this secret history that why 10 years from now we hope that there are books and written about this stuff, because like there needs to be someone documenting all this stuff, and the people that are documenting all these things are the facilitators, which are booking people. Like everyone still has all that information. You probably still have like all this information and roadmaps and stuff that you get to like maybe put together like these crazy weird tours and write about this, you know, in 10 years.
And I think that's why I'm kind of excited that at least my personal Twitter's still alive, like through the AEG cease and desist. Cause like, I don't know. I feel like it's a good, as much as it is just a bunch of bullshit, I feel like there is some good timeline searching that I could do for like when stuff was happening.
Yeah.
And just like having the emails and having like the videos from all the old fests, and like even like the videos from like the Shaq era. Like a lot of people I feel like don't know, but like we had like an interview show that our friend Adashina hosted called Cliff Notes, which was just like we would have bands that were playing the Shack. They would come like a few hours early, and we would film like an interview show. Like,
that's awesome.
Like former Critics was on it. Equipment was on it. God, I don't even actually know who else. But
that's still so cool that, you know, even in like 2017, y'all were doing like early level YouTube content stuff, which is like huge now. Yeah, that's so cool that you know, was there like when y'all decided to make this thing more than just like you and your buds, did you ever see it getting to where it is now?
I mean, I never saw any of this getting to anywhere that it is now, just because like my whole involvement in it stemmed from a bit.
Yep. Yes.
My friend was filming a video project about a band, and didn't know any bands. So me, Trey, Dylan, and Bales started a band to be like this, like I forget the name of it. We're like turn it up to 11.
Fuck.
The movie about the fake band.
Yeah,
or like
totally.
I guess Metalocalypse, but Metalocalypse is also like kind of a band.
Yeah.
Like a real band.
Yes.
But like we started a fake band and then started playing
Spinal Tap.
Like
God,
Spinal Tap. Yeah,
if I didn't say it.
Yes. Literally just like a fake band for like a video project, which that video is still on the internet, which I think is really funny. It was just us playing like really poorly and us playing like Cage the Elephant songs.
Awesome.
Like
awesome.
And that you know, along with the Summit Shack, which kind of started in its own way of like trying to start a BG art collective.
Sure.
Which that was a more like pointed endeavor, but like I doubt we would have been doing. I doubt I would have been inspired to try to start an art collective if not for enjoying playing music with my friends.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Like in a band that started as a joke. So I never even like, I don't even want to say that it's like ever been a dream of mine to be involved in any way with live music. You know, I played drums as a hobby in high school. You know what I mean? I made beats and stuff like that, went to shows, but it was always just purely a hobby.
Yeah, totally.
Purely something I did for fun and with my friends. You know what I mean? Like I was never in a band that played shows up until I joined a band as a bit, American Spirits. You know what I mean? Like,
which is such a good name for a band. Like, what the fuck? It's so good.
We hated it at the time because it started as a joke, and we were like, "Oh, I guess we're stuck with it now." So, like, I don't know. Like, it's funny because like Free Throw tells the story of how they started their band at their VIP sessions on the VIP stuff on the last tour where they did the Q&A. Free Throw started because Corey and Larry wanted to get into house shows for free and be able to drink without like, because they didn't want to like, they wanted to get into house shows for free, but they still wanted to drink.
Yeah.
So they joined a band because if you're playing the house show, you get in for free and you can bring beer and not look like an asshole.
Totally.
So it's like,
oh my God.
It's like, I don't know. Like I didn't know any of this.
That sounds so fucking Nashville. That sounds so fucking Nashville, like house show shit.
And very much the way that Free Throw never thought they'd sell out an entire tour of like 200 to 1,300 cap rooms. Like, I never thought I would be a festival guy or a tour manager or a drummer in bands. Like I never thought I'd get a chance to like play in front of 1,000 people. Like it was never really on my radar because it just happened on accident and I fell into it. You know what I mean? Like almost every step of the way, it was just like, oh, someone needs this thing. Like after the initial joining a band as a bit, it was just like, oh, someone needs this thing. Someone I know that was doing it isn't doing it anymore. I should learn how to do that thing and help them do it.
Yeah. I don't think that there's I've interviewed a lot of bands. This is like, we're going to be hitting like 80 episodes soon. And I think the fucking consensus is no one has done this on purpose. Like, I don't think that, like, I think people like it and then they do something and then they're like, oh, like, I say this a lot in the pod, like the mountain ends up becoming a hill where you're like, you know, the fear of moving forward. And you look at the skyline of this thing that this mountain you have to climb in order to do it. And then the closer you get, you're like, wait, oh, it's just this thing. It's just this little hill. Everyone just kind of stumbles into this. And then whenever there's more work to be done, you just end up doing it because you just kind of keep moving forward and just to see where it goes.
Yeah. I mean, the whole like turning into an agent thing, I was booking tours for my own band because our guitarist had stopped taking the lead because he was the only one who had been in a band before this. Yeah. So he is the only one who had any knowledge of like kind of how things worked. But as soon as he stopped doing it, I was like, well, I'm still having fun.
Yeah.
Like, I want to keep doing this. So I inadvertently learned how to like book DIY tours for my own band. And then, you know, within a year, the band stopped being a band. Members wanted to go do real life stuff. And all of a sudden I'm just like, well, I don't have my own band currently. I'm starting a new one, but like, what do I do in the meantime with all this like knowledge that I've accrued and these resources that I have for like setting up DIY shows throughout the Midwest and the Northeast? You know what I mean? I guess I should do it for other bands for now. So I started just like for free, you know what I mean? Just like booking show, like not necessarily even like booking tours directly at first. I was just like, hey, if you're doing a tour and you need help with this region, hit me up. I can set you up with some cool shows. Cool. You know what I mean? And just like kind of started doing that, which evolved into doing some DIY tours for bands. And then COVID happened and I retired from it all. And I even coming back to being an agent, which is what evolved me into being a manager, which was what evolved me into being a tour manager. Sheem was just like, who's booking DIY tours these days? They tweeted it in like 2022 or 2023 or something. And I was just like, I literally replied to the tweet and was like, I'll come out of booking retirement for Cheem. And I booked Cheem a DIY tour. And then Riley hit me up and was like, I don't even remember how the whole Riley, I was just good friends with them ever since they came through the Shaq. They booked a tour specifically to come to the Shaq, which I think was cool. Stupid, given how far away from Texas
that's fucking
it is.
Insane.
It's just like y'all came for fucking 26 hours away just to come play my fuck ass garage. Like, get out of here. Like, come on.
But that's so DIY. What a weird, it's such a DIY thing to like do and say. And again, it's maybe it's just DIY is just a collection of bits. Like, and
it is
that is
truly all for a weird bit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just it's all snowballed very accidentally. Like not accidentally, because at the point it is driven. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like 95 was a joke in the beginning. It was a dare from my wife. We were listening. I was like 4 or 5 beers deep in my sunroom, listening to God, who was it? It was we were listening to Worst Party Ever, and there's a song they mentioned parking lots, and I remember being like, I can write a song about parking lots, and she was like, fucking do it. That I wrote a little EP, and then it's just been one mistake after another, and here I am. Like it's
so good.
It's all just a bit. I think everything that, like, I think that again, like I said, after 80 or something episodes, everyone stumbling into this, everyone has kept going because of this thing in their head. They're like, well, let's just see where this thing goes. Like,
Let's
and
see where it goes, and I feel like it says something about the community too.
yeah, well, I think
Because a
that
lot of
that's what
people
we like the most. We love this thing.
like, as much as there are, new public enemies every month if you're on Twitter,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just kind of the nature of the beast. I don't even know if that's even a DIY thing or just a Twitter thing, because it seems to be just a Twitter thing.
I think it seems to be just a Twitter thing, but that's just the party that everyone's hanging out at, and of course, there's just gonna be this. It's just like part of the schedule, weirdly.
But in between all the online stuff, which we all participate in or at least observe one way or the other, in between all of that, there's so much stuff happening in real life, which is, I think, where the true like love for it all comes from. Because it's just like, I remember my first DIY tour, I was just like, oh my god, everyone's so nice. Like, everyone's simply being so gracious to us. Like, what in the world? Like, so it was just like, I would love to see my friends that I made and lost in a day again. You know what I mean? So surely we have to go back to that house in West Virginia. Surely we have to go back to this house in Pennsylvania. Like, I want to see my short-term friends again. You know what I mean? Like,
that's exactly what it is. It's like, it's like some kind of weird Fortnite lobby whenever you go like into this house again, that you're like, okay, cool, here's all these. I love going to shows in Nashville where I know everyone that's gonna fucking be there. That's like, who cares who's playing, in a way. We're like, I just want to be with my friends and listen to cool fucking tunes. That's it.
And I will say that to get back to like the Coachella stuff, like the booking process, there was definitely a period of time where people were calling Coachella clicky, because I was very much just booking a fest where it's like, I want to see all my friends.
Yeah.
So I would just book all my friends, because it was like, there was a lot of, if you look back at previous Coachellas, previous shows, stuff like that, there's we've worked with a lot of quote unquote canceled bands, you know what I mean? And in a way to like combat that, like, I fell into like, oh, I'm just going to book my friends because I know they're not sex pests. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I'll just do that. So I really fell into booking a lot of the same bands, having my equipment, having my summer brews, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So like, in evolving past being clicky and just booking that, like, especially for Coachella 7, it was like 75% new bands or something that had never played a Shaq event before. But I guess that also could just be, the fact that we don't do house shows anymore. I don't have like a plethora of touring bands coming through to be my A&R for me. I kind of have to search it out more on my own and talk to friends and search it out that regard. Cause like when I was booking shows at the house, it was just like, a lot of the bands who played the Coachellas were bands that came through the house that I was like, oh yeah, definitely heard Chef. Like that was amazing. So I guess that, that could also be part of it, is that I do have to kind of go with more artists who haven't, done as much, but that's always been what Coachella is totally. A bunch of bands who haven't really quite done a bunch, getting to play with, the bands who are graduating, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the alumni who come back, like Heart Attack Man. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like they're back and bigger than they were back then. You know what I mean? With, it just, I don't even know how to describe it really. It's just like, I feel like it's always kind of filled its exact same niche. Like from the third one on, when I started booking it, is like, I want these cool young bands to be able to play with these cool bands that are more or less young, but like about to be at the next level. You know what I mean? Like I as much as I hate a band graduating Coachella, I'm so happy for my friends when it happens. Cause it's like Riley is at this point graduated Coachella. It's like, I manage that band. It sucks. I obviously I could, you know what I mean? If I really wanted to.
Yeah.
But it's just like, they don't, they're not a Coachella band anymore. But again, moving to a bigger band, maybe they are again in the future. Yeah. So like, I don't know. It's cool. I enjoy the whole like new band thing. Cause like like looking at Seven, nobody knew. Like I was just watching the Circle in the Street that Matt's editing right now. Like nobody, everybody's like, yeah, I saw Combat. I had no idea who that band was, and I feel like Combat now is like kind of like not a household name, but like
totally.
They've got an agent. Their record did really well. Like they're on their way up to the next step, and they're 19, 20 years old. You know what I mean? Like
they're so small.
They're just sweet little babes.
They're just sweet little babies.
But like looking at the Coachella 7, where it's like, yeah, I saw Combat. They were amazing. I'd never heard of them before this. Like even JJ was like, yeah, I'd never heard of Combat before this. It's cool to see bands do stuff like that. Like, with the Harrison Gordon, like they've graduated Coachella threefold. You know what I mean? Like
totally.
Saturdays at Your Place was just literally, they played at like 3 p.m. on a Friday for Coachella 6. You know what I mean? Because they had to go to another fest the next day.
Those homies just live in that fucking van.
But like they graduated Coachella. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's cool. I love when it happens, and I love trying to get bands to graduate Coachella. Like, yeah, God, like I think Bottom Bracket and Fend and Mud Whale. I didn't have them back this year, but like Anita Velveeta, like just like bands that were just so fucking good, dude. Like their sets were just so fucking good. It's like I want to have them back just to have them graduate again, or like attempt to graduate them again, because I want more people to be hip to how good this band is. I don't know. It's. I'm very. I don't think I'll ever let anybody come in between me and the booking process of the flows, because I feel like I've come to love the control that I have over it, and it's I don't know. I always have Conor bands on there. They're bands that I want to see, and I don't really care if anybody else wants to see them. But it's
more than that.
It's much, for every Conor band, there's 5 bands where it's like, I know people like this band. I know people are fucking with it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And plus there's a trust there. Like now that, 9 is like the next thing that's happened. Like, after that, it's going to be fucking 10. Like, it's going to be like this thing. There's this trust, and everyone kind of knows what you've been trying to convey. Since 3, like since you've taken it over, everyone has a different way of explaining what Coachella is to them. But the general consensus is that there is it's a step in the process. It's about like when you start playing in these genres, in this in Midwest emo and indie and in this stuff, you will be heard of in this scene, and there will be a chance to play at like this stepping stone for so many other bands, and that is in like, so like when the news of Coachella comes out, it's like it's like at the high school, who's running the school play, who got these parts, who got like, whatever happens in that scene in the movie. Like everyone knows that thing is going to happen every year, and everyone stays tuned for it. And this thing that you've curated for years now, you've done such a good job of making everyone feel like this thing that you want. You've just conveyed it so well.
I'm glad that it comes off that way, like, because I don't know, it's hard to really like approach it from an outside perspective.
Yeah, you're in the middle of it.
But I'm glad that people, and I guess it goes to show that a lot has happened in the past year, because like Coachella 7 sold out in like 2-3 months. You know what I mean? Coachella sold out in 2 days.
Yeah, I mean,
like something happened in the last year, or it's just Homo's wearing Carly Cosgrove. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's the former. I think that something has happened that, again, the last 20 something months of this group of people, this DIY thing has exploded. Like it is bigger in a way that we could have never, imagined, whether it's TikTok, whether it's something, it's a bunch of stuff. And at the center is this thing that you've made. And it's crazy.
I want to bring people to Fuck Ass Ohio to see good bands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it really evolved from just like being a Bowling Green thing to like, people from the UK have come, people from Mexico have come, people from Alaska have come.
Insane.
Like we had an international band, you know what I mean? We had fucking the Losing Score from the UK come over.
Wow.
It's fest. You look at like a festival like Fest down in Florida, you know what I mean? They've got hundreds and hundreds of bands. I love that. And apparently it's just fucking what's his name? I forget the guy who does the fest booking, but like apparently it's mostly just him. Like he's really just kind of cultivated his own little, there's a ton of staff that help with the fest, but when it comes to the booking process, it's just that guy. You know what I mean? Like
that's insane.
And I kind of really fuck with that. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to curate something that people really enjoy. And I always do kind of forget that it is like, I don't know. Once it's out there, I feel like it stops being mine. You know what I mean? Like much like bands are with songs. Like once the lineup's out there, like it's y'all's to do with what you please. You know what I mean? Like
totally.
Coachella, how the event goes, it's up to the attendees. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's up to the band. It's up to the bands that play. It very much leaves my hands once the lineup is gone or out in the world. You know what I mean? And I kind of like that because the people have done good with it.
It's funny because like
Coachella is equally something that like we've done and equally something that everyone else has done.
Yeah, it's again the curation, this thing that you've been wanting to do, you've succeeded, and you in fact you succeeded too well.
Yeah, fucking this year was I felt bad. I was like, dude, it takes like a month or two at least to sell out. I feel like it'll take at least a month. If you get paid next week, you definitely have time to get a ticket. Yeah. I said that to like 10 different people. Yeah. And I felt so fucking bad when that shit sold out in 2 days. I was just like, I lied to them. Yeah. Fuck, dude. Shit. Like this is bad. Like, oh shit. Like,
oh man. But I mean, like,
it's like selling out a merch on a tour and people are like, oh, you don't have anything in small to XL. And it's like, yeah, sorry, we weren't expecting this. Like, it's a good problem to have, but also it kind of sucks.
Yeah. Like, it's so weird. Like, I think that, again, you deserve y'all's flowers for this. It's funny because like, we're getting towards the end of this. I was going to say like, what do you want to plug? But like this is sold out and it is kind of in a weird space right now, but it's so like
that's why the AEG stuff is also in a way like kind of sucks because it's like once it's sold out I was like, oh, I don't need to promote this anymore.
Totally.
So the Shaq account just kind of like, unless we're doing like media stuff, like just kind of dies for a little bit, and I don't mind that because I hate having to manage a bunch of social media accounts. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So like, but the fact that the AEG stuff happened and we got the cease and desist, it's like I kind of want to be loud about it because I kind of want to generate bad press for AEG because they're punching down a million levels. They're just like, aha, we're the second biggest concert promoter in the world and you don't turn a profit. And they're punching me in the head. It's like, you're an asshole, dude. Like, maybe he listens to this, maybe he doesn't, dude. Like, you're such a cocksucker, dude. You know you are. That's the worst part of it all. Like, he opened the call with like, we sue charities in Ghana. Like, we don't care. And it's like, he doesn't. He's right. Like, he wasn't blowing smoke. He's just kind of a cocksucker. Like,
yeah, it's evil is weird whenever it like you find it. Like you're like, oh shit, this guy is evil.
Yeah, so it felt bad to like have to raise a fuss about it because now I've had a bunch of people message. They're just like, how can I get tickets? And it's like, well, AEG took down the ticketing website, so even if you wanted to scan the QR code, that page doesn't exist anymore, and it's sold out. And it feels vain to throw sold out on your poster like for a festival, I guess. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just overlooking, looking too much into that.
I get it. I get why you would be hesitant. Like, I mean, it's, it's your call.
at the risk of looking like I'm sucking myself off more than I already do. Like sometimes, like I don't know, but it sucks that we gotta had a bunch of hubbub about it because so many people even now months later just like, oh fuck, I want to go to that now.
Yeah, totally.
And we can't. So like that's why we're gonna move to a bigger space. Like we're looking to have like an 800 cap, 600 to 800 cap for the next one, which is definitely it's like triple.
That's
what I mean.
First of all, that's insane. That's awesome.
So it's definitely going to change a lot.
Yeah, 3.0, baby.
Yeah. So and I mean, in terms of stuff to plug, like I guess me, Matt, Chance, and Trey. Like I'm less the videographer side of everything, but like we're available for hire. Matt, Chance, and Trey have done incredible work on so many different like video projects and like all the Shaq content and like music videos that they've done for other bands. And they are Summit Check LLC, like the video portion of that, like it really is them, it's not me. We're available for hire. We have flexible rates, you know what I mean? Like if I want to get my friends work, you know what I mean? I've been so busy touring that I have not been, focusing as much as I should at hooking up the homies, and Matt, Chance, and Trey are some of the greatest to ever do it. So if you're looking for video work, you need extra hands, you need grips, Chicago, Kalamazoo, Bowling Green, Toledo, like anywhere in the Midwest, anywhere in the Great Lakes region. We've traveled to Brooklyn before to shoot music videos. Travel is no issue for us. You know what I mean? Like, hit us up. We're available for hire. You know what I mean?
That's so sick. And like, if you have all these videos up to like basically showcase your whole thing, that's so sick.
Yeah, like we've got a reel of all the videos that they've worked on over the years, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of them are really fucking cool. Even the ones that I didn't help with, I think they're fucking awesome. They do a really good job. They're really flexible to what the shoot needs. Matt's a great director, you know what I mean? He's really good at doing exactly what you want him to do. He'll take as much direction as you'll give him, and if you'll give him none, he'll do what he needs to do with none.
Hell yeah.
He's incredibly versatile. Chance is a wizard at 3D animation. We just animated the Leisure Hour Jenny music video.
Oh, that's so sick. That was y'all?
That was exclusively Chance and Taylor. Chance's wife
cool.
Now, Chance's spouse. That was like Matt helped with rendering and a few things, and Trey helped with a few things. You know what I mean? And I watched. But yeah, Chance and Taylor did that pretty much exclusively in about a month and a half. Like they really knocked that shit out of the park with the timeline.
They really did. It's incredible.
So like hit them up. You know what I mean? I'm doing the touring stuff. I'm also going to be a parent, so I'm going to be a little less available for a little bit. You know what I mean? But like,
totally,
they're down to clown. They're down to travel. They're down to work. You know what I mean? And I love them. They're my forever homies. They're some of my best friends. You know what I mean? Like it's Summit Check LLC, not just Coachella. Also,
yeah,
like
it's so much more.
That's what I'll plug.
Fuck yeah! All right. Well, I like to play a song because it's music, whatever. So, but I want to pick something from you. What song would you like to hear? Like, basically in this area.
Dude, give me. It's been my favorite song for the past like month and a half, 2 months. Give me "Fairfield" by Sydney Sprague.
Done. Okay, here's "Fairfield" by Sydney Sprague.
Can't makes me. You won't ever feel the way that I did. I think I'm gonna cry.
That was Fairfield by City Spray. Connor, my dog, thank you so much for fucking hopping on. This was super sick. I'm glad that we got to hear a huge amount of lore about the whole thing and just kind of shooting the shit about like the whole thing. Congratulations on everything. I'm going to put a bunch of like applause sounds, and it's going to be this thunderous thing because that's what, you know, this thing that you've created with your whole team is wonderful, and you conveyed it so well, and it is, everyone believes that it is the stepping stone that it actually is. So again, thank you for hopping on and talking about it with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I don't know. I love yapping about it. It's cool to reflect on it in that sense every now and again.
All right, cool, man. Well, listen, you have a wonderful rest of your day, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother.
See you, dog.
See you.
Bye.